And welcome back. Happy Monday. Welcome to week 4. This is your boy, Grade A Fantasy. Thank you for tuning into the Grade A Fantasy channel. And welcome to my top plays and preview for the quarterback position for week 4 on FanDuel main slate. Now, let's get right into this. So, typically there are years where week 4 is like an early bye week kind of thing. That's kind of like real weird or whatever. I never think bye week should be that early, even with the new elongated season. I mean, I would say it takes teams 4, maybe even 5 weeks to start getting into things and, maybe start feeling, the pressures and the wear and tear of a football season. So for me personally, I think that these bye weeks should at least start to begin like October or so. But this week is a condensed schedule with 11 games. But why is that? There's nobody on bye this week. This week, besides your typical Thursday game and your typical Sunday night game, we have the doubleheader Monday night. Bengals and Broncos off the slate. Jets and Miami's off the slate. And the Dublin, Ireland game early Sunday morning. The Vikings and the Steelers are off the slate. So one thing when you get the bye weeks and all these other games that take away from the main slate, it means ownership is going to be condensed. So less options, but still doable. 11 game slate. Sometimes when you have a bunch of teams on by, it's a 10 gamer. So the NFL, I know with this schedule, they have a lot of late bye weeks, and they have also a lot of early games. A lot of early games traveling across the country, across the world, pretty much. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, bye week start week 6, if I'm not mistaken. But this week is a very short schedule, but it's because of the Dublin game and there's a Monday night doubleheader. So if you're looking for certain people, they're most likely either on the Thursday game or they're in that Monday night doubleheader. And once again, Steelers and Vikings are in Dublin. That's 9:30 here. I think that's about, I don't know, 4 or 5 in the afternoon over there, possibly. Now, let's get right into this slate. So, here's the key thing. One of the few times where I think I'll be above the field on Josh Allen. If Buffalo runs all over New Orleans, I don't think Josh Allen is an option because you need a team to push Josh Allen. Even if Josh Allen starts off early with his yards, he has to score. He can't give that ball to nobody else to pay off his 9,000, not as a stack of 9,000. So I think he's an option, but I think I'll be under the field on him. Lamar Jackson, he will get pushed by the tough KC defense. If he has trouble getting the ball down the field, he will use his legs to compensate. But if you ask anything, when it comes to those big 3 right there, the pay up options, and yes, I'm going to consider Jaden Daniels in, maybe. But even if he's in, my favorite pay up is Jalen Hurts. I think the Tampa Bay pass funnel is a real thing. What happened week 3 yesterday against the Rams was what was needed to get that passing game started. And I think I think for the first time ever, it's literally, instead of Jalen and one other guy, no, Jalen Hurts and Jalen double sacks are viable against the pass funnel of Tampa Bay. So when it comes to payups, Jalen Hurts at 8,500 is my favorite, even if Jaden Daniels does come back. As we start scrolling down under 8,000, yes, you can still consider him a payup. I still like Justin Herbert at 79. I also like Baker Mayfield at 77. But here's the thing. Baker Mayfield gets a big downgrade because now Mike Evans pulled up late yesterday. So now what does that deal with the passing game? I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see on that. It's a tough defensive matchup. That Cleveland defense is playing hard, but you also always have to consider Jared Goff at home at 7,600. Do you trust Caleb Williams to continue? 7,500 has 4 touchdowns. Has a somewhat, decent matchup, as you could say. He's on the road, but it's still the Las Vegas Raiders. So Caleb Williams still a popular option. Daniel Jones at Los Angeles. It's a tough defense, so maybe he's forced to do more with his legs. Maybe if the passing game isn't right, because I'm pretty sure he's gonna have to do stuff with his legs, and he's gonna have to get to those wide receivers because that's a tough run defense against Jonathan Taylor. But hey, Jonathan Taylor's a stud. But when you go against tough run defense, it kind of limits the ceiling for even people like Jonathan Taylor. So Daniel Jones at 74 is without a doubt an option. And as we get cheaper, Drake May, the way he's playing, he's an option against Carolina, 7,100, and he's at home. Matthew Stafford, you can always look at 7,000. But as we keep going down here, yeah, I'm going to probably have to go back. I mean, the offense isn't working. It's going to happen 1 week, and they're going to be contrarian. I mean, he finally kind of hooked up with Nico Collins, C.J. Stroud. You could have used Nico by himself. C.J. Stroud stacks, but one day that offense will get it clicking. At home against Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't have a formidable front line, and they can put pressure on that bad offensive line. But like I said, this is still Tennessee. C.J. Stroud should be able to connect with Nico Collins, and another week under his legs of getting in shape, Christian Kirk. So some weapons will still be available there. And if we keep going down, now here's the interesting thing. If this is at Atlanta, I will still play Marcus Mariota. He had a fine game. If Jaden Daniels doesn't get cleared. The big thing is Mac Jones re-aggravated an injury that he was dealing with in the preseason, but it was working out fine for these last two starts. Now, Purdy was still close, so there's a possibility Purdy comes back because he was close to coming back after making significant progress. So he sat out the last 2 weeks. The toe injury was looking like a 3 to 4, possibly 5-week injury when it first happened, but they didn't want to put him on temporary IR. So there's a possibility Brock Purdy comes back. But if they don't clear Brock Purdy and they still feel what they're doing good enough since they started off 3-0 and let Purdy come back and let Purdy sit and then let Mac Jones sit, then the 49ers will have to, one, call up somebody from the practice squad, and then two, they will have to most likely go to, I think the kid's name is Anthony Martinez, who's currently the third quarterback. So it all depends on really how much progress did Brock Purdy make last week since he seems so close. And also the 49ers are 3-0 early in the season. It's a team that has playoff Super Bowl aspirations. Do you rush Purdy back and let that toe and that foot heal for one more week and then bring him back week 4 since you're 3-0? There are a lot of questions to ask about. But right now, quarterback 1 and 2 are out. So that most definitely means they're most likely going to have to possibly bring up at least one backup from the practice squad. Who knows? They might sign somebody. But I think with Purdy coming back so soon, I don't think they sign anybody. I think it's going to be more of a, they'll have Martinez start from he's the third QB, he'll start, and then they'll just bring up somebody since they're going to need a backup. So just a lot of teams with early attrition. But yes, I will still take Mariota, $600 more from what he was the last time. Flacco's always an option. He's probably going to have to pass to catch up with Detroit's high-octane offense with him being on the road. And there's really nothing here at the bottom at all. Nothing. Can't believe how bad Michael Penix and Atlanta look. That's probably going to be the most shocking game of the year. The fact that Carolina shut them out, that's actually crazy. And speaking of Carolina, even though, yes, it's probably going to be maybe one more week without Christian Gonzalez, maybe. The thing is, Bryce Young, if they're forced to throw because New England's style is to sell out and to stop the run, the way Mike Vrabel coaches, he's never really had good secondaries. I think Bryce Young is another cheap option. He has it is a decent matchup because New England does give it up in the air. Now, they're giving it up in bunches because their main cornerback is out. But even if he's back, I think Bryce Young will have to do some things in the air. That is pretty much it with the preview for the quarterback position. So, if I'm going quarterback, my favorite pay-ups are Jalen Hurts. You're going to like Justin Herbert. And I guess if you want to consider that pay-up, it's like, I guess you could say Jared Goff at 76. When it comes to the mid options, where you got your 75s to like 7,000s, you got to like Caleb, Daniel, Drake May definitely. Always like Matthew Stafford at 7,000. And then for paydowns, Stroud, Young, And hey, if Purdy gets cleared, he is cheap. That's the other thing too. If he gets cleared, he is very cheap, and the offense just runs better with him. So if he gets cleared, then without a doubt, I would definitely have me some Brock Purdy. So, and then of course, Jaden Daniels, I will once again have a running Marcus Mariota. So that is it. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Week 4 quarterback preview and my top plays and picks at the quarterback position for the FanDuel main slate. Thank you for tuning in once again. This is your boy Grady Fantasy, and I'm signing off. Have a good week, y'all.